In this video, I'll be going over a new chart, which is a modified version catered to recognize symptoms, mainly to help you link all the dots and gives you some clues. I will go through two of the most commonly found symptoms, and if you would like to have more insights on a particular issues, you may want to leave down in the comments below, and I can go through them in my future video. So this is the chart which I actually revised recently. And for case study number 1, we have this client of mine. She's 37 years old. She's a housewife with 2 children. And she was recently diagnosed with depression by her psychiatrist. In general, the mood issue here can be categorized as someone experiencing anxiety, focus, attention, or even in serious cases like schizophrenia or suicidal thoughts. And do you know that a lot of teenagers nowadays doesn't even know they have depressions? And parents are too busy working and think that their children are just fine. Kids with depression tend to keep to themselves, and most of the time they isolate themselves away from friends. They don't feel like talking as much, and sometimes these type of behaviors in someone's eyes may look like introverts or basically shy to express. Do you agree? Just follow me through the chart. I will guide you along the way. So basically, when they have mood issues, the very first question that I always ask, and it's my favorite questions, what did you eat? What's your usual eating habits looks like? Then from there, I will expand further to check whether if the food is fresh, is it more to whole food or more to ultra processed food? Is it organic or food which are heavily sprayed with pesticides? They also go through their macronutrients ratios like your protein, fat, and carbs. And also check whether they have sufficient protein intake and is it complete. I'll go through over their lifestyle and activity levels, whether they are more sedentary, desk bound, or if they tend to participate in high intensity sports, or if they are athletes themselves, or if they are teachers or students who is constantly going through stressful events, dealing with a lot of kids, examinations, using a lot of these brain functions. They might require tons of nutrients to support the brain's executive functioning, and also the amount of stress their body is undergoing. In the typical situations, even if adequate protein is consumed, one might not be absorbing well. You can have all the nutrient-dense food, but if you lack the enzymes to break down the food into smaller bits, it's harder for the body to absorb all these nutrients when you're not getting the resources to run the cycles or these pathways. And on this particular case, the productions of neurotransmitters, serotonin, your brain chemicals will be very low. Digestion can also be affected if someone is constantly under stress. Chronic stress will switch the body into a sympathetic nervous state, and in this fight and flight mode, it can inhibit secretion of digestive enzymes. To put it simple, if you can't break down your food fast enough, you will get your nutrients lower. These reactions, as stated here, is not an all or nothing. Okay, it just mean the referring to the speed, how fast and how slow. Like you can get it in 10 minutes instead of 2 hours. So reduced nutrients will affect the pathways, as you all know, because we need all these cofactors, especially the methylation cycle. When there's a lot of all these low cofactors for the enzymes to do what they are supposed to do, you get lesser of the end products. You will get the SAMe lesser. And most of the SAMe is being used up by these two enzymes. And for this particular case studies, we are looking at the productions of serotonin, your neurotransmitters. So let's switch over to this StrateGene pathway. This chart might look a bit complex, but just follow through slowly with me. When she does not have enough protein, either from the insufficient dietary intake or the lack of enzyme to break down food, or maybe if she has a low stomach acid, the amount of protein tryptophan can impact the productions of her serotonin. As you can see, the text in greens are all the cofactors, which is essential for the enzyme to function. So you will see iron, B6, BH4 stands for biopterin, and biopterin is from another pathway which requires the active folates, 5-MTHF, which I mentioned in my past video. Even if someone who has adequate productions of serotonin with all the cofactors in it, we also need to check the transportations, activations, and metabolism of all these brain chemicals. We can't just give a supplements for symptoms. It might just backfire because the enzymes here will also factor in the amount of serotonin in our body. If the metabolism is way too fast, it's the same thing as someone having difficulty in the productions. Or if it's the other way around, then you will leave too much serotonin in the body. Then the symptoms will now look like agitations and irritability. Then if you move downwards and on the right over here, you will see that serotonin is actually the precursor of our sleep hormone melatonin. And yes, it requires SAMe again. So serotonin deficiency together with nutrient deficiency will naturally cause sleep issues. Then the next case study, we have another client, male 26, who just started working recently. He's been suffering from eczema since his school days around 16 or 17 years ago. He also has frequent sleep issues and mood instability when he's under too much pressure. Again, I always check diet as the first question. Since eczema is highly associated with histamine or allergen, I will definitely have to check on the food he's eating on a daily basis and check his eating habits and snacking frequency. We have to make sure if the food was prepared fresh because histamine can build up even in cooked foods. So we have to check whether does he frequently eat all the leftovers. We also need to check whether he likes to consume high histamine containing food, such as those hard cheese, bacon, sauerkraut, or pickles food. Then for beverages, we have to check whether does he drink alcohol. If he drink once in a while, does he feel worse after he drink? And do you know that even in those so-called healthy probiotic drinks, they may have some bacterial strains that produce histamines, which can increase the histamine bucket load. So the stool test will be very useful in this scenario because we can check his gut microbiome composition. We can also rule out certain bacteria such as the H. pylori, which can lower his stomach acid pH level and affect his digestion. We can also check if there's a candida yeast overgrowth as they do produce acetaldehydes, which can slow down many pathways as shown over here, especially the histamine pathway indicated here in DAO enzyme, diamine oxidase. And furthermore, if the gut has imbalance of good and bad bacteria, this can cause gut inflammations or other infections, which can further slow down this DAO enzyme, the methylation cycle, and even the serotonin pathway, as shown here, when tryptophan is being robbed away to the inflammation pathway on the left shown here. So if that's the case, he will also experience a very low serotonin and may cause depressions. This also explains why he has also sleep issues and mood instability. How many times do we see people with skin issues have low mood? Tons of it. The DAO enzymes are produced in our intestinal gut lining. And if the gut is inflamed, it can definitely impact the DAO levels. And we can't also ignore the cofactor it needs for the enzymes to function. Someone might eat a lot of histamine food and he or she might not have issues with the DOM enzymes, but the byproducts of these reactions are hydrogen peroxide and ammonia, which cause for our antioxidants glutathione to neutralize them into less harmful molecules. So if you eat a lot of high histamine food, you also deplete your antioxidants glutathione. Histamine is also found in our brain, liver, uterus, as shown here, and they are produced naturally as a byproduct. But we definitely do not want them in excess and need to be periodically excreted via this HNMT enzyme. Notice the same as a cofactor. So if someone is not absorbing their food well due to the gut infections, low nutrient food intake, or too much anti-nutrients, your SAMe productions will have problems supporting all these meta-transferases. And in this case, HNMT without B2, B3 and zinc from malnutrition will further slow down excretion and can potentially cause excess histamine in these areas. And also if he consumes tons of coffee, and plus he's a guy, it's gonna reduce the activity even more. Do you see where it goes? Yes, getting some supplements can alleviate the issues in some cases. But what we want here is to narrow down the underlying issues. You don't want to take a specific supplements for an issues for life, don't you? You can utilize, remove and reduce. All these contributing factors can burden your methylation cycle and all your pathways. Then slowly restore your body with nutrition. I did elaborate in details in my past video. You may want to check out the link up here for more information. There's also functional screenings that you can ask for when you visit your primary care provider. But ultimately, the person who is analyzing the result must see you as a whole person. I do have my own private practice doing on one-on-one lab interpretations using functional drug-free protocols. You can email me if you need more insights. Thanks for watching. If you have not watched the video on anti-nutrients, do click here